scrappy friends. So I've come today to show you my COVID-19 quarantine chronicle diary, and I felt like documenting it. We document Christmas, we document birthdays in mini albums, we document so many things. We do scrapbook pages, but I did want to kind of do a little journal about everything that we've been going through during this period. And I'm in Spain, and here in Spain we've had a really hard time with this COVID-19 virus. So I decided to document it in a traveler's notebook. You know that I'm a big fan of traveler's notebooks, and I had this Jane Davenport cover that I still hadn't used. It was brand new. So what I put in it are a couple of unfinished journals. So this one is of last summer that I started, summer holidays, but I have not finished yet. And I have another one of our dog. I was documenting faithfully when she was really small the first year, but then I stopped. I have the pictures printed, but I stopped documenting, and I really need to get going and finish this album as well. She's gonna be 3 now, so just imagine. And I'm gonna leave this one in here as well when I finish talking to you about it. So I use the Felicity Jane Traveler's Notebook. As you can see, it's pretty full and it's packed. I stopped documenting in Easter, and that's where I'm gonna stop. Here in Spain, today it's 10th May, and we are still in lockdown, in total lockdown, because the situation is still quite serious. So the government has decided to extend the lockdown for another 2 weeks, so we have to stay home for another 2 weeks. Although we have been allowed to go out for a walk, which before we weren't supposed to. And I did like a little cover page here with #StayHome COVID-19. I used the Fancy Pens. This was from a very old Fancy Pens Christmas collection, and I decided to use it because, you know, I thought that it didn't look very Christmassy, and there were just 3 homes, and I thought it was great. Then inside I kind of made another title page, Diary of a Pandemic, and then on this side I have a card that was sent to me. I did scrapbooking haul shopping actually, and in Spanish the #StayAtHome, here it was Yo me quedo en casa, and here we were given one of these really cute postcards with all the elements that have to do with scrapbooking and with crocheting and cooking, stuff that we've been enjoying whilst we've been staying at home. So I used a bit of everything in this diary. I didn't stick to one collection. I used everything that I found in my stash. I haven't bought anything in the last year and a half at least, because I was in a kind of spending freeze, but I had also stopped doing scrapbooking for a while. I was going through some personal stuff and stopped doing scrapbooking. So I just, you know, opened the drawers and started taking stuff out, and that's what I used. It's eclectic, it's me, it's my style, and I still like it. I do like it when people use the same collection and ephemera from the same collection. And you know, they make their albums look very uniform, but in my case this style represents me very, very much. I like to use a bit of everything in my albums. This is me. So I did document the day that the schools closed in Madrid, and I had just come back home from a walk in the park, and they were just saying it on the news that they were closing down the schools in Madrid, which was totally surrealistic at that point. And then a few days later, they started the lockdown and the state of alarm, as they call it here, which meant that we just couldn't get out of the house. So I documented the day that they closed the schools. I thought this was very important to document. And then homeschooling started. So I have to say that I'm very happy, both as a mother and as a teacher in my school, because my daughter, she was just sailing through her school stuff since day one. We've been given online classes since day one, and we've been in close contact with the students. We're still evaluating stuff. We've done a lot of new things with them, even with the limitations that we've had. I think we've done a really good job, and I don't know, I'm really proud. And as a mother, I am really happy as well, because my daughter has just, you know, been learning so much new stuff, and she was responsible before, but she's even more responsible now. So I documented the whole homeschooling and experiment that she was told to do, which was pretty cool, about soap and washing your hands and viruses. And on March 13th, so here when they announced that the schools were going to close, it was March 9th. And then the weekend came, and March 13th was a Sunday, and I told my people at home, let's go for a walk, because I think this is going to be the last walk in a very long time. And I was not wrong, because today 2 months have passed, and March, April, May, 2 months have passed, and we still can't do this. We still can't go to the park, we still can't enjoy a walk together. So I forced them a bit that day, but then we were all very grateful, because the very next day the state of alarm started, and we really enjoyed this. No, I actually think it wasn't a Sunday, it was a Friday or Saturday, because the state of alarm started on the 16th, and the 16th was a Monday, so yeah, something like that. Then here I was still at school. The kids were learning at home, but I was still working from school the last few days, and I went to say goodbye. We have a bearded dragon in the science lab in front of my art room, and I just went to say goodbye to the little dragon. I did quite miss her a lot. Then exactly March 15th was a Sunday. That's when I had my last walk. So I am a big fan of walking and running, and I had my last 6-kilometer walk with my dog that day. And that's the last time that we went out. Here I documented how work went. So work was tough at the beginning. It was very hard to learn a lot of new things, new ways to teach. Online teaching proved to be very challenging and time consuming and tiring. But at the end, now a couple of months later, I can say that it is also very satisfying. So I'm very satisfied as a teacher that my kids have been accompanied by us and have learned so much stuff. So I documented kind of this. And then something creative. So a lot of people did a lot of new things during this quarantine period because they had time on their hands. In my case, I didn't have extra time on my hands. I had less time on my hands because my working hours just went up a lot. But I did try to disconnect in the weekends, and I started crocheting. And I wanted to start crocheting because I wanted to try do these amigurumi critters, and I'm so much in love with them. I've already spoken about this in my channel in a previous video, and I'll probably be posting every now and again stuff that I do and stuff that I buy. And yes, I learned on my own, just following a couple of YouTube videos and just following the book basically. I bought a couple of books, and yeah, that was it. And I'm really happy that I've started doing this. So I have a new hobby now, and I have to kind of find time for both. I think a 24-hour day is not long enough. Then, 2 things that I saw posted on social media. The first one, I think many of you have seen it. It was a poem by Kitty Omeara. And I just found this poem beautiful. And people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised, etc., etc. So I know that most of you have seen this poem out there. And then the version that I found, it came with this little picture of the hibernation kind of, no? And this is exactly what a lot of people have been doing. Reading, resting, In my case, I've had to work a lot, so the reading and resting, not so much. But hopefully, we're coming close to the end of the year, and I can enjoy that very soon. And then in our little terrace, which I'm very grateful to have because at least it meant that we could go out and enjoy the terrace a little bit. I have one of these wire words. You can kind of write any word that you want. And I wrote the word animo in Spanish, which means like have faith, courage. So I have it kind of shining every evening for our neighbors to see, and there's Mika over there. And I did continue using a lot of house elements all throughout the journal because this was a stay-at-home journal. Here I continue documenting the creative process, and then my daughter who's grown so very, very, very much since all of this started. I think all the kids have kind of had an opportunity to grow a lot during the quarantine. Maybe it's because they were resting a lot more and they're eating better some way. So yeah, my girl has just grown up so very much. This page, it just got unstuck. This is what happens when the Traveler's Notebook starts to get quite thick, but it doesn't matter since there's going to be the elastic band in the middle. It's just not going anywhere. So I documented what most of you must have documented as well in your projects, the panic shopping, which in my case didn't happen. I tried to avoid panic shopping, but it was true that we like the supermarkets didn't have any toilet paper for quite a few weeks. And in my house, we just had a couple of rolls left. And the day that I went to the supermarket and I found, and they were the 2 last packets of toilet paper on the racks, I just had to buy them both. And I felt so self-conscious and embarrassed just paying for both of them. But I was really scared that I wouldn't be able to find any more toilet paper after that. But anyway, and then the long queues to just be able to go to the supermarket, another thing that I did want to document, and some music that helped me get through the days and helped me relax. I started documenting spring, so literally during these 2 months we went from winter to spring to basically summer, because we've had temperatures go from 5 degrees, it was freezing cold, and 30 degrees this week, which is basically summer. So we've had a bit of everything, but that's spring for you in Spain. And I'm just missing going to the park so very much. I just spent loads of hours in the park that we have next to our house with the dog usually, and I'm just missing the park. So I took a couple of pics from outside and I wanted to document how beautiful it looks. It's all nice and green. Then my daughter, she's grown so much. She's gonna be 11 in a week and a half, and it's amazing how much she's grown. And I have to say, I've been blessed because she's been so good during the whole quarantine period. She has not complained one single day. She's been super responsible with her school stuff, and yeah, I did allow her kind of to start a little bit of social media and just be in contact with her friends. Sincerely, I'm one of those mothers who try to avoid their kids being stuck on social media, and she doesn't have a phone. So she's kind of been using my iPad in the afternoons to be able to call her cousins, her classmates. I thought and I think that it's important that she has this contact with her friends. She's an only child, as you know, so it's important that she gets in touch with her friends, and she spends the whole day with 2 adults, so this is fundamental. She was behaving so well. I did buy her this kit to dye her hair. It's one of these chalk kits that washes away with the first wash, and it turned out beautiful actually, because she has really blonde hair, and yeah, the colors turned out really nice. Then a couple of me pictures. I did suffer, I have to say. There were some tough days during this quarantine. I'm a person who needs to go out. I quite like staying at home in general, and I like crafting, and I like reading, and I like relaxing at home. But then I do need to go out for walks. I think for mental health, it's super important to move, to exercise, and to just disconnect by going out for a walk. So I started feeling like a bird in a cage a little bit. But I spent a lot of time in our tiny terrace balcony. And then I used to take the dog out once a day. So we could take the dogs out 3 times a day, and we kind of shared Mika between the 3 of us. We took her out once each every day. I usually took her out in the mornings. And yes, trying to smile through it. Then here in Spain, every evening at 8 o'clock, everybody goes out and claps. We clap for the medical staff who's been working so very hard. We clap for everybody who's going through a hard time to kind of encourage them. And then we had a lovely neighbor who has used this big speaker he has, and we used to have a disco every single night at 8 o'clock, and he used to play like 4 songs every day, and we just danced our hearts out to these songs. So this was one of those days, and I wanted to document that. And then spring. even though we can't go for walks, these are like the flowers that I have right outside my house, which I thought were beautiful, and I just used to snap a few pictures of the flowers every day. More creative stuff I continued doing. So this was the first one that I did, the gazelle, and then I did this little froggy, so cute. And my best friend had a baby. in the midst of all this mess, she had a beautiful baby boy, and everything went so well for her, and I was super happy for her. And then it was Easter, so a different kind of Easter. I did try to live my faith in this peculiar time as well as I could. We were blessed to have a lot of support through the social media, and we have access to Mass online and to a lot of stuff. So I just can't complain. I think the church has done a lovely job, at least my parish, and the school where I work, we've done a lovely job related to that. So I documented Easter. I documented all the dead people. So many people died in Spain, and we were having over 900 deaths a day for many days, and it was just awful. So the numbers started going up. I just included a few screenshots from my Facebook stories updates. This was one of the days that we had the biggest number, 950 deaths in the last 24 hours. With 110,203 infected people, and this was over a month ago. So I don't even want to talk about the numbers now. You know that Spain, it was on the media. We've had a really hard time with the coronavirus. We're still having a hard time. We're still in complete lockdown. Today is May 10th, and we're still in complete lockdown in Madrid, at least. So half of Spain today, they've started kind of the reducing the lockdown a little bit. They're in phase 1, as they call it, so it means that they have allowances. Here in Madrid we are still in full lockdown, but since last week we are allowed to go for a walk every day, and we are allowed to take the kids out for a walk, but we have restrictions. We can't go beyond a kilometer, we can't stay out for over an hour, and we can't meet up with anyone. So if you see somebody in the street, it's just you wave goodbye and you have to go, which I think is okay. I mean, we're trying to avoid things getting worse again. And I did want to document this a little bit. For example, here I'm using a paper that must be like 100 years old. This was a very old paper from a manufacturer that doesn't even do any scrapbooking paper anymore. So I've just dug in my stash to do this journal. Couple of images that were shared on social media, which I liked a lot. And then here in Spain, they started using the Decathlon masks, the scuba diving masks, the snorkeling masks, to transform them into ventilators for the sick people. So they were asking everyone who had this mask to donate it, and Laura, we had given her one of these masks for her birthday last year, but we were very proud of her because she donated it to the healthcare, and they transformed it into a ventilator for her, and we think that it might have saved somebody's life. And then still documenting Easter, Good Friday, I watched this beautiful, beautiful movie. I really recommend it if you haven't watched it, Mary of Nazareth. I truly loved it. It's not like a typical Good Friday movie, because basically you have the story from start to end, the Bible story, but I love it. I just can't watch the movie The Passion. I can't. It's too much for me. But then I can watch something like this, and I still feel that at least I'm living the story of Easter. We had this typical meal. It's called potaje. So this was something that my mother-in-law used to do on Good Friday, and it's based on fish and spinach and chickpeas, and it's delicious. And my husband cooked that. And then this was funny. Saturday, so there was this police telling Christ, don't you even think about going out, And I found it really cute, and I wanted to add it. And then Easter, I cooked roast chicken. So I know this is not a very Eastery lunch. I don't know what you usually eat for Easter. Here in Spain, we usually opt for lamb, but I didn't have any that day, and I wanted to make something that they like, that my family likes, so I just made roasted chicken. And Laura absolutely loves it. She was happy, and she was happy with her Easter gifts. We gave her chocolate and Easter egg and some sweets, and she was absolutely delighted. And at the end, this picture, it reminds me of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. She was the first one who saw Jesus when he resurrected, and I added the words "never stop believing." We should never stop believing and having faith that we can go through this, and that he's always with us. And yeah, I wanted to add this. So that's the end of my journal, and I'm not going to document anything else about this COVID situation, because I think that it's enough. I have it documented, you know. My daughter, when she grows older, she's gonna look at these photos and she's gonna remember this perfectly well. And I have new projects coming up. So it was Mother's Day last week here in Spain, and my kid and my husband, they gave me a little bit of cash to buy some new scrapbooking material. So I haven't bought anything related with scrapbooking in over a year and a half, as I said, and I did buy a couple of new things which I am looking forward to sharing with you. In the next video I'll be doing a haul, and I have a few projects that I'm still kind of thinking about. I'm not very sure, but I'm kind of thinking about what they will be, and I'll be sharing them with you. And this is all from me for today, and I hope you liked this and that it gave you some ideas to how you can document this weird period that we're going through. Stay safe everyone, and I'll be back very soon with more. Bye!